All right, so move on to the next segment. I'll be sharing my thoughts on the ongoing saga between Jerry Jones and Ceede Lamb. So, I'll be sharing my thoughts on Jerry Jones not being in a rush to re-sign Ceede Lamb to a new contract. So, the news that everybody knows that's going on in the National Football League, that biggest elephant in the room for the Dallas Cowboys heading into the NFL season, is the fact that they're missing their number one wide receiver in Ceede Lamb. He is not there, and he's been holding out a training camp waiting for a new contract for the Dallas Cowboys. So I'll be sharing my thoughts on that. Realistically, though, Jerry Jones, I'm not buying this. Jerry Jones' comments towards Ceede Lamb, they could come hurtful for a lot of people, but I know the game that Jerry Jones likes to play. I know you, Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones, if you guys follow the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones likes to add comments to the media to get the media to talk about the Cowboys more heading into this upcoming NFL season. He does it year in and year out. This year is just a different story with a more meaningful storyline with your number one wide receiver missing camp. I mean, haven't I seen this story before? Jerry Jones is going to give Ceede Lamb a new contract. It's just a matter of when, because he knows how valuable he is to this Dallas Cowboys offense. And Jerry Jones has lost several holdout battles to his star players in the past. Zach Martin, one of the greatest offensive linemen that the NFL league has seen in over a decade. One of the greatest in the NFL offensive line-wise. I've seen this story with Ezekiel Elliott back in 2019 when the man was playing hooky in Mexico until he got a massive contract, was nearly worth $100 million for the running back position. So Jerry Jones has a reputation of this, but I understand Ceede Lamb's frustration because he has given us the Dallas Cowboys top-tier quality in terms of what a number one wide receiver is supposed to do in your offense. He is the reason why we were averaging so many points per game, and he's watched his mates like A.J. Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Justin Jefferson, Jalen Waddle get fresh new contracts, and those general managers were willing to pay for their respective number one wide receivers. And Ceede Lamb is in the conversation, obviously, for being a top 5 wide receiver in the National Football League today. You can even put him in the conversation for being a top 3 for what he's done production-wise over the last 2 seasons for the Dallas Cowboys. So, Jerry Jones, pay your guy. It needs to be done as soon as possible because Ceede Lamb is worth every dime to this Dallas Cowboys roster. And the scariest thing is, now I could see 2 things happening in this scenario because now we are a few weeks away from the open week 1, and you play a really good team in the Cleveland Browns, and Jim Schwartz, who is that good defensive coordinator, has been around the league for a very long time and knows what it's like to put together good defenses year in and year out. And they got a good number 1 corner in Denzel Ward, so it is kind of getting scary as a Dallas Cowboys fan because you need Ceede Lamb in camp because no matter how good a shape you are in, no matter what you're doing in life, you can't duplicate NFL game. You can't duplicate an NFL game, your shape, without getting those type of reps in camp. You can't do it. I mean, you got to be able to be durable as a wide receiver or on the field as much as anybody offensively. You're running routes. You're running as fast as possible to run your routes so the quarterback can give you the ball. So it's getting a little scary now because we need Ceede Lamb to get these reps in so nothing serious happens when he gets on the field, practices, or for the worst part, something happens to him in the regular season. Let me knock on wood. But as I digress here, like I said, there is 2 things that could happen. We could give Ceede Lamb a new contract, which I do believe will happen. I like the rumor numbers that I've seen over the last several days. The rumor numbers that we could give Ceede Lamb a possible $134 million contract, possibly a 4-year deal, and pay him $70 to $80 million guaranteed. I would like to give him something less than Justin Jefferson. I mean, there is a debatable conversation that when healthy-wise, who is the better wide receiver, but that's a different topic for a different day. But I do believe that Ceede Lamb deserves his money because he is a great route runner. You can play him in several positions. You can play him on the outside. You can play him in the slot. He's a guy that you could have in motion, set him in motion for a lot of trick plays. And he's a playmaker with the ball in his hands. Why would you not want number 88 Ceede Lamb on the field? every 31 other NFL teams that Ceede Lamb requested a trade tonight as I record this would jump the gun and give Dallas Cowboys a pretty good package to get a caliber wide receiver like that on their roster. So I think it's pretty appropriate that we need to make a deal quickly. And this is the next thing I could see happening. Ceede Lamb could go the route of the likes of T. Higgins and Brandon Ayuk and request a trade if he does not get a deal done very soon, within the next 2 weeks if a deal is not reached. And that's scary because Ceede Lamb could possibly play on that player option that would pay him $17 million. And then he could be an NFL free agent. That's the scariest thing. Why would you want that if you're Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, and the Dallas Cowboys? So he could be an unrestricted free agent after this season. I think if we don't give him a deal, though, he will request a trade like T. Higgins and Brandon Ayuk did. But looking at this, though, the Panthers are, right now in the NFC, are really the only team that does not have a true number one wide receiver. Everybody else in the NFC conference has a number one wide receiver. I don't care how bad the team is. Anybody other than the Carolina Panthers has a number one wide receiver that they could call a true number one option at the receiving position. The Dallas Cowboys looking at this depth chart, they don't have a solid number one guy if Ceede Lamb is not available or not there. I mean, we need Ceede Lamb because it's Ceede Lamb, Brandon Cooks, and the rest of the wide receiver depth chart dramatically drops in terms of what you could give me as a number one option. And we don't even have a number one running back. We're going to go with a running back committee of Ezekiel Elliott, that Rico running back, and Deuce Vaughn. This is not looking good. I mean, I think a deal has to be done as soon as possible if you're Ceede Lamb and the Dallas Cowboys, because this cannot keep going on. But my last point, I'm going to prove why Ceede Lamb is a top 5, top 3 guy and why he does deserve the money. Last year, Ceede Lamb finished first in catches, finished second in receiving yards, third in receiving touchdowns. Give him his money. And yak yards are important. I don't have the stat in front of me, but Ceede Lamb is one hell of a player with yards after catch. Give him his money. I think he deserves it. Let's end this Jerry Jones and give Ceede Lamb the contract that he deserves.